That's so good!
Well, at the time, I was making music under a different name, and I sort of came to the realisation that my music had never really been put out in a way that did it justice. It wasn't really promoted, and I realised that it wasn't in anyone's interest to really do that. And I sort of came to this realisation that, you know, labels don't make that much money anymore. They don't make that much money out of selling music. So, like, it's not in a label's interest to pump loads into an artist unless they're taking something back. So I figured to do a good job of it, like, the best person to do it would be yourself, because you've got like the motivation to promote the music properly. So initially the label was set up to release my own music, and then very quickly I realised that it would be an awesome machine to actually rectify all the mistakes that have been made in my career and kind of push other people's music through. So myself and my partner Nick Sadler set it up in 2009, and we kicked it off. I was quite lucky because, being in the industry for quite a long time, I had access to a lot of music and a lot of big names who are just friends and colleagues that I'd worked with before. So we kicked it off with people like the Freestylers and the Foreign Beggars, and it was a really good start. And those sort of names attracted people in. New acts, you know, that we could push through and start developing and make them just as big as the acts that we kicked it off with. So that's how it all began. It's definitely different. Like, it's more fun. Like, it's, you know, on a base level, touring in a group is just so much more opportunity for fun and games. And we've had an awesome group in New Zealand. We had, you know, TC, Wilkinson, Zomboy, Rocksonics, Jenna G, Reaps One, Tali, myself. Mob Scene, and yeah, you really get to know people in a different way when you spend every day travelling with them and then performing with them. And yeah, there's some absolute jokers on the tour. And, you know, for Australia, for this tour, it's me, TC and Zomboy, and it's a sort of downside of it is you've got competition. You've got other headliners there smashing the big tunes and, like, you know, putting on like big performances, and that's kind of a downside, but in the upside it makes you up your game. You know, you have to step it up, and you've kind of got this sort of like friendly competition with you. So yeah, it's awesome. Home's London, and the best thing about it is, you know, I've grown up there my entire life, and my family are there and my friends are there, and it's the musical centre of the world in a lot of ways, for, like, you know, origins of subgenres of dance music. So it's awesome to be around that kind of buzzing. London also can be miserable and shit.
By the power of Raw!
I think that the trick is to distort without distorting. So, you know, find a good original synth sound and process each sort of frequency of it individually. So have like one little bit of distortion for the top end, and then one little bit of distortion for like the mid-range, and a little bit, you know, something boost, you know, some EQ boosting the lows, and then, you know, to get the sort of talking kind of sound, you know, it's just, there's lots of different ways you can do it. You know, you can use vowel filters, things like the Sugar Bites wow, you know, that's like a favourite of mine. You really get that kind of like kind of sound going on. You know, massives, like the weapon of choice for most people for their basses. You've got waveforms on there which are so rinsed out now that it's, you know, you can hear them in like so many tunes, things like modern talking. And that's, you know, that's the way that people would start to try and make that bass. But I think to get the real signature sound that people strive for, you kind of need to think a bit outside the box and draw stuff in manually, you know, like draw in automation of like how you want vowels to open up with filters and stuff like that, to get that kind of that real kind of distinctive sound. I've always worked, prior to doing dubstep, I'd always worked in a team. You know, I'd always been a part of either a duo or, you know, doing tracks with other people. And SKiSM was like the first thing where I kind of really just went out there on my own and just started doing it on my own. So I didn't do any collaborations for ages, and I got so used to working on my own, and making music became a really sort of personal process. So like I had to be like, the collabs that I did, they were with people that I'm like really good mates with. Like Flux and I are quite close, and that track came about sort of by accident, and it just came about through pure vibes. Like we just had so much fun in the studio. Like one of us was wearing a money suit like the entire time. If it wasn't like me, it would be him. Like the siren in it is Flux going like into a mic. One of the percussion loops is me doing this with like a flanger on it. You know, it was just fun. And I think that was cool for me. That was probably like one of the best collabs that I've done, because it reminded me like how fun making music can be, because it can be a bit of a chore. More recently than that, like I've done a couple of things with Zomboy, and again, we're really good mates, and you know, he's part of the label and we're bringing him through, and that it's just, we have a lot of fun. And also he's so, like, he's probably the person that I've learned the most from in terms of like just little production kind of tidbits. He's really like finger on the pulse, young guy, spends all his time making music, and you know, I've been using Logic for years and years and years, and he'll just go, and I'll be like, how the hell did you do that? And he'll be like, oh, didn't you know about this? And then I'll show him something, and we'll kind of swap tips. And yeah, like I think every collab that I've done that's come out has been like great in that way. And you know, I think both parties have kind of learned something from each other, so they've all been highlights. We've got a wicked little stable together now, consisting of myself, Dodge and Fusky, Zomboy, Eptic, 501. And you know, we've got strong ties with the Foreign Beggars. They're kind of off doing other things for other labels now, but you know, we're still very much involved with those guys, and it's awesome. It's a family. Like we're probably going to have to kind of like really stop signing people because we can't have everyone, because otherwise, you know, people's releases won't get out as quick as they need to and stuff. But yeah, awesome little family, and like everyone is a real sense of family and teamwork, and everyone's kind of like really up for working together and remixing each other. I've got like Dodge and Fusky remixing Rave Review, Eptic remixing Power for the Down With The Kids remixes, which we're launching the Never Say Die membership club with. And it's great. I think it sort of inspires everyone to kind of one-up each other as well, especially since Zomboy came along and just went over everyone. Now everyone's just like, right, you know, game on, yeah. I think DJ culture has been lost a bit over the past sort of few years, and I don't really know what to attribute that to. I wouldn't attribute it to the rise in technology, because I think that should make DJing better. I think all these cool like new like, you know, software things and like the CDJs and the mixers that have got better and better. Everybody should be better at DJing, but I actually think they've got worse. And I don't think it's that. I think it's just that the people who are becoming successful at making tunes are getting younger and younger. So they haven't grown up with DJing, they've grown up with making tunes, whereas I'm a little bit older, and I started out as a DJ, and I started out going to clubs wanting to hear mixing. I wanted to go there, I wanted to hear like Andy C's double drop intro, you know what I mean? When I was like 19, 18, 19, or even younger than that. But that's when I started DJing, and you know, you look up to people like that, and I think that's sort of lost. Now it's about your records primarily, and it's about your big hits, and you can go out there and you can just press play and people will go nuts to it. And that's frustrating for a DJ's DJ. But that doesn't stop like the few of us that do it putting effort into it. And in answer to your question, I don't really spend a lot of time planning sets, because you never know what you're going to come up against when you get out there in a club. But like, I've got these little things up my sleeve, and you know, I like to keep busy, so I use 4 decks now. And that's not like, oh wow, 4 tunes playing at once, but it allows you to think 2 steps ahead. So I'll be in one of my little sections where I know my little run of tunes that work really well, and I'll be thinking, oh, I want to go to this and I want to go to this. The next couple of CDs are out and in, ready to go the minute like a mix is finished, and it keeps it sort of fluid. So yeah, I guess it's experience more than anything, and that's what a lot of current performers don't have yet, but they will have soon. So you know, hopefully everyone's going to get better at it. Am I ready for the roughneck bass? Most definitely. Hi, I'm SKiSM and I'm on the Grizzled tour in Perth with TC and Zomboy 2012. Biatch.